back. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. Happy Monday to everyone. How is everyone doing today? I hope you all had a great weekend and I hope all is well. Mondays is hard because it's the beginning of the week, back to work, etc., and so forth. But regardless of what's going on and how much things are getting busy in your life, please always take time to check in on your mental health, to take care of your mental health, excuse me, guys, to take care of your mental health and your physical health. Make sure that you're okay. That's so important. One of the things I always suggest is positive affirmations. And one way to do this is to look in the mirror daily and tell yourself that I am worth it, regardless of what I'm going through, etc., and so forth. I am worth it, and I do matter. Having self worth is so important, knowing your self worth. And that's the title today, Know Your Worth. It's so important because when you self love on yourself, you're not going to allow yourself to take in a lot of negativity. You're not going to take in a lot of toxicity, drama, and so forth, because you're going to be so interested in taking care of yourself. Anything that's toxic, that's going to cause negativity in your life, that affects your mental and physical health, you're going to know to remove it. One of the ways I like to do that is to set boundaries. It's so important. I learned that as I do the work through therapy, and it's important because if you don't set boundaries for your life and other people, people will walk all over you and you will become their doormat. And I had to learn this. It took me a long time to learn this because I was so busy trying to be subservient to people. Because, as I said in prior videos, I don't like conflict, I don't like confrontation. So I would try to be in compliance with whatever to diffuse the fire, put it out before it gets started. But what I learned as I started to grow and heal and do the work through therapy is that I matter. I'm not going to put out my light to please somebody else, and I have to be my authentic self and I have to speak my mind. Meaning, if something is affecting me that someone else is doing, we have to have a conversation about it, communicate about it. And otherwise, I start to feel, some kind of way about it. And that's not good for my physical or mental health. And for you as well, it's not good. Communicating how you're feeling and setting boundaries is so important. Now, in my case, when people started crossing the boundaries over and over again, and I had conversation after conversation, I just cut off, block the individuals. And once I block, I'm not unblocking, I'm not reconciling, I'm not doing any of that because before I got to the point of blocking, I did everything to communicate and to compromise and resolve the issue. And since some individuals want to step over those boundaries that were set, then I just cut them off. My peace of mind, my health, my physical, mental health is everything, especially going through the trauma of all the grief and the loss that I've experienced. And for those out there who are listening to this video, if you're going through a lot of grief and loss, it causes a wear and tear on your body. And some of us are traumatized by it, especially when it's loss after loss after loss, you know? And I try to limit, as much to my ability as I can, the, the negativity, drama, and etc. And it wasn't easy to cut off, but, after speaking over and over again and people are being intrusive and etc., then I had to cut off. And it's as I did this, it was less drama in my life. As I continue to do this, less negativity. And then I start to feel better and to heal. And it's so important. I learned positive affirmations. And this is what I'm talking to you guys about. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself you deserve to be loved. Even if you don't have that love in your life at the moment. Buy your own flowers. Make that bubble bath for yourself. Put on that favorite playlist. Go and walk by the water. Take your pet with you. Do things that uplift you. If you want to go see that comedy show, go do that. Don't wait for others to go with you. Take yourself. Take yourself on that date. And it doesn't mean to be in love with yourself. I'm not talking anything narcissistic, but just love yourself in general. Because if you don't love you, how do you expect other people to love you? You have to love you, and you want to be treated with love and respect. How do you expect anyone else to give that to you if you don't give it to yourself? So that is so important. And so one of the things I had to learn is removing negativity, doing things that are positive to keep my life positive. And more importantly, my relationship with God. Because in the beginning, I'm going to tell you guys this, like I talked about in a prior video about, what's the guy's name? They called him Lieutenant in Forrest Gump. And he had lost his legs. If anyone watched that, I'm pretty sure you did, in the war. And he wanted to die in the war, and Forrest saved him. And he was angry with God because, his situation. And he had it out with God. He was on the top of the pole and on the boat, and the winds were raging, and he was screaming at God. I found myself in that situation when I was losing all these people at one time, the shutdown and all of this. And believe me, I did that for months, screaming at God. Why is this happening? Blah, blah, etc. But after he did all of that, he made his peace with God. After I did that for about 4 months, I made my peace and noticed that God started to help me the more that I partnered with him and put him in my life. He started to help me. And any situations that are beyond my control, I go to God with it. And believe me, he helps me. And I'm so grateful for that, because without his help, I probably wouldn't be here today. And I just continue to build on that relationship with him. I'm not trying to give a speech, a sermon from church, but I'm just sharing what helps me. Also, I want everyone to know, I say this every video, I'm not a certified therapist of any sort. I'm just sharing things that help me to get better and to move forward on taking care of my mental and physical health. And I want to share those things with you because somebody someplace may be grieving very hard and in a depression. And everybody don't talk about how they're feeling or what they're doing. Some people just are quietly grieving someplace and they're having a hard time. So share these videos with them so that they can listen and hear the message and get yourself connected, whatever state that you're listening from. Get yourself connected to a therapist. Google a therapist. Get connected to one. And it's okay to see a therapist. It's okay to talk to someone, regardless of what other people think. You don't have to share that because your physical and mental health means everything. Without that, you can't take care of yourself or anything else. And then try to get connected to bereavement groups in your area as well, because you're going to hear stories from others who are going through the same thing that you might be going through. And they may share something to help you as well. It's so important to take care of ourselves, especially in the world we live in today. We're spending mostly on misery. Now, remember the last time I had a video, if you watched the prior one from before, and I talked about this game I used to play when I was a teenager. Me and some friends would get together, and one person will whisper in the ear of another person. And by the time, it probably was like about 7 of us in a circle, sitting in chairs in a circle. And by the time that message got to the last person, it was never what they said. And then we were trying to figure out why. I never said anything. And one message in particular was never even said. It turned into something entirely different. And I use that example to talk about gossip, which I'm going to talk about here again today. When you decide and you're determined to heal, we never get over the loss of loved ones, but we can get through it. But when you are determined to heal yourself and to grow and to expand and to do better, when you know better, you do better. Some people may not like that because you may not be the same person as you were before. You're still you, but in a different way. Because when you experience a great amount of loss, it changes you forever, and people may not be used to the new you. And that's okay. But when people want to gossip and say vicious lies and vicious things about you that you've never done in your life, but they want to spread that because they can no longer, like in my case, I'm no longer subservient. I'm no longer being controlled and I didn't consider it being controlled. I just wanted to keep the peace. But I matter, and my feelings, emotions, all of that matter. So when people are not taking that into consideration and we can't come to a compromise, I just block and cut off. I don't have time for it. Life is short as it is. And sometimes people don't like that. So they may go and spread lies, vicious things, and say things. Here's what I'm saying about that. When this happened, or if this happens to you, know this, that the person or group of individuals who may be spreading gossip about you, I tell people before they believe things that they're hearing, look at where the gossip is coming from. Look at the source. Look at the life of the individuals who are spreading this gossip. And then look at the life at the person that is being gossiped about. And you will see the difference. You will see what is true and what is not true. It will always reveal itself. What's in the dark will always come to light. Light will be shed upon it. That's all I say about that, because we have no control of what others say and do. That's on them. But I promise you it will come to light. And people have to start doing that. It's just like I use an example when I was in college, and I did a lot of writing classes and literature classes, and I did a 17-page paper. And before we did the paper, the professor always emphasized plagiarism, that we always have to cite the sources. Like if we take a saying from any book or whatever we're reading or the assignment, it's not our words, it's the words of the individual. So we have to cite that or we get an F automatically in the paper. And the same thing, when you're talking about gossip and things. And in order to find these things, you have to research and that this person said this, where you got it, etc. It's the same thing in life. When someone gossip and say things, think about what they're saying and who they're saying about, before you start believing anything. Because anybody can tell you anything. I could say, meet me at the Brooklyn Bridge, and I'm going to be there with a check for you. And people, come on. So just look at the source, look at who's saying it, and look at the person that they're gossiping about, and you will know what is true and you will know what is not true by the actions itself, by the action of the one that's saying this and the action of the person who's being gossiped about. That's all I want to share about that, because, it's out there. People do it, envious, people, and people who don't want to see you heal and grow. That's one thing I do have a problem with. I can't understand why someone don't want to see anyone else heal and grow, and why some people don't want to heal and grow. Because when you don't heal, you don't grow, you stay stuck and stagnated, and the pain has no outlet. It's important that we release that pain. We never get over that hurt, but we can get through it. We can keep our loved one's memory alive through telling stories about them and what they meant to our life. That is the message today. And for anyone who is dealing with depression and they're dealing with loneliness, please seek out a therapist and talk to someone. It's so important. It makes a difference, and keep moving forward. When you start to love on yourself, it takes time, one day at a time, because we all have something, right? But it takes one day at a time. And you will start to see improvement, even if it's slow. Pat yourself on the back, you know. But, continue to take care of yourself through positive affirmations, listening to music that uplifts you, spending time with pets if you have one, and just doing things that make you feel better. Little by little, as you do this on a regular, you will start to feel better. And please hit that like button, subscribe button, and share this video. Share it with others that you know need to hear this message. That's so important. And I will be back again tomorrow with a new message. Everyone, have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. This is Lisa, shedding love and light as always. Bye for now.